Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right everybody, welcome to the weekly comic book review. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books and I'll let you know what I thought about them. And we always start with the pick of the week. This week's pick of the week, The Green Lantern, number 3. Grant Morrison doing the Green Lantern. You know I'm gonna love it. I'm already down for this book. I'm already super excited for this book. And then an issue like this comes out and blows my expectations away. Grant Morrison promises that he's gonna give a more grounded police procedural type story out of Green Lantern, right? A little bit more down to earth, he says, but in space, if you will, right? No. You can tell by the cover right there that it gets super crazy cosmic, really fun, wacky, wild ideas, exactly what we've come to expect and love from Grant Morrison's superhero work, especially at DC. This is great, vibrant, out there fun, wicked, wild, crazy type stuff. Add in the artwork from Liam Sharp and Steve Oliff with his colors. The artwork is amazing. It's splendid, highly detailed, extravagant, beautiful layouts and composition, amazing type artwork. I really like this comic book. A lot of people are it may be a little bit divisive because a lot of Grant Morrison fans, it goes here and there with it, right? But I love this book. It's fun, and it's taken some of the seriousness out of Hal Jordan that has been prevalent over the last few years, ever since the Jeff Johns run, and it's just telling a really fun, bonkers, crazy space story in the DC universe. I like it. Really cool ideas, really beautiful, intricate, detailed artwork with amazing coloring, great lettering, great layouts and composition. Pick of the week, The Green Lantern, number 3 from DC Comics. Also new from DC Comics this week, though, we got Young Justice number 1. Young Justice returns. This is the official start of the imprint Wonder Comics, spearheaded by Brian Michael Bendis. This book is written by Brian Michael Bendis with artwork by Patrick Gleason, and it's got amazing artwork by Patrick Gleason, I should add. Also has coloring by Alejandro Sanchez. Great stuff artistically, really fun. As for fans of old school Young Justice, you know, me and Brooks just did a comics revisited on the Peter David, Todd Knox stuff. If you were a fan of that stuff, this book is gonna just entice you and entangle you and enthrall you. This book is amazing. I really, really liked it. A great grasp Bendis has on the characters. The little bit that we got to see, there are a lot of questions to be answered still, but that's typical of a Bendis first issue. But it's a great celebration of Young Justice from the 90s. Of these characters, of Cassie, Wonder Girl, of Tim, Robin, of Connor, Superboy, of Bart, Impulse, and new characters as well, like Jenny Hex and Teen Lantern. They're really fun, a very vibrant, buoyancy, filled with buoyancy issue. I don't know what that means. I meant it's bouncing fun. It's super fun. Young Justice is great. Great artwork, great dialogue, great characters, and yes, that is Connor Kent Superboy, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I have a lot of questions to be asked and answered. But seriously, this book was so fun, and old school Young Justice fans, I think you're really, really going to dig into it. Bendis, Gleason, Sanchez, and company did a great job. If this is just an inkling of an idea of what Wonder Comics is going to be, I'm super excited. There's also a preview in the back of most DC Comics this week of Naomi, the new book by David F. Walker and Brian Michael Bendis. That book, I've read the first issue, is amazing, really cool, so definitely check out that free preview in the back of Young Justice, another Wonder comic. That was really, really fun. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below. Also from DC Comics, we got Justice League number 15. You know I'm loving Justice League. Right now it feels like we are in a little bit of a lull in the story. But a lot is being revealed, I should say, especially what's set up in this issue to happen in the next issue. It's going to be a big, crazy, exposition-y type issue. Scott Snyder's joined by James Tynion the Fourth. Of course, we got a little bit of Jim Chung in here, but we have mostly Steven Sokovia on the artwork. And it's decent artwork, not the high caliber that we're used to from Chung and Jimenez and other artists that have worked on the Justice League, like Manapool, Porter, and others. But it gets the job done. The story's really intriguing. This basically focuses in on Hawkgirl, Martian Manhunter, and John Stewart Green Lantern in Thanagar, trying to uncover the multiverse's secrets, right? Really fun stuff, great mysteries, and also a little bit of a thread into Starman, how that's tying in together. A nice framing sequence there by Jim Chung. Really cool stuff. Love and Justice League. It brings that vibrancy, that fun, that buoyancy of fun that you remember reading comic books as a kid. At least I remember reading comic books as a kid about superheroes, especially Grant Morrison's JLA run. This stuff feels just like it. Really, really fun. Another highlight from DC this week, I think DC kind of slayed this week. Batman number 62. This, of course, is Tom King in the third act of his Batman run, and I'm loving it. I was really hesitant at first, got pissed off for a while, started understanding. Now I'm just loving and adoring each and every single issue. This one has artwork by Mitch Gerads, and it's amazing. And you can tell that Tom King is giving Gerads just a little bit of slack here, because there's not a lot of like 9-panel page, but a lot of 3-panel pages, right? So he gives them a little bit of a break, but the impact is still there. It's also reminiscent of some recent work in Mr. Miracle, and makes me not wonder if all of what Tom King is doing with this issue in particular of Batman and Mr. Miracle and Heroes in Crisis, is it all tied together? I'm not going to speculate right now. I think these works should stand on their own, but it's interesting some of the effects in the artwork in this issue. Anyway, Professor Pig, Mitch Gerads, Tom King, Batman, a fun one-and-done story that fits right into this ongoing story and also entices more of a mystery. It's a really confusing issue, but it's also really, really fun. And I really like this issue, and it was a nice... It's not an exploration of Professor Pig or anything, but it's an exploration of how Batman thinks when he wakes up in an impossible, unfamiliar situation. Really cool stuff. Batman number 62 out this week. Martian Manhunter number 2 is out this week from writer Steve Orlando and artist Riley Rossmo. The first issue was really cool. It kind of focuses a little bit back on the origins of Martian Manhunter and John Jones and when he came to Earth. It focuses in on things like that and adds a little bit of a new element to his origins, to life on Mars, and to his early history on Earth as the Detective John Jones. This is a cool issue with really great artwork by Rossmo like we're expecting. The story gets a little incoherent at times, but not really. It's kind of an easy thread to follow. But it is just a little disjointed, but I think that's on purpose. I'm digging this book. I think it's really, really fun. Steve Orlando is going to do something really, really special with Martian Manhunter, and it's either going to sink or swim. Right now, it's treading water, it's floating up, it's about to spread some wings and about to just soar on through the ocean. That's a weird analogy. Anyway, Martian Manhunter number 2 I really liked, but it's going to be a hard pill for some people to swallow. It's a very different take on Martian Manhunter, artistically, vision-wise, and of course creatively and origin-wise. But I really do like this. I think it's a little bold, really fun, and a cool new take and spin on the history of Martian Manhunter. That's what I think. Adventures of the Super Sons number 6 is here. Super Sons continues to be super fun. Seriously, Peter Tomasi understands the character of Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne like nobody else. He writes these characters like nobody else. Cool artwork, a great story, the ongoing story. If you've been loving this book, you're going to continue loving it. If you read the last volume, you were hesitant to start the next volume, I highly recommend it. Really, really fun. Issue 6 of a 12-issue miniseries. So let's go over to Marvel. Marvel's got a big release, Captain Marvel number 1. So we've been talking about Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel for a while now, since I started the weekly comic book review. And I always said that there's a movie coming out. Marvel needs to really set up Carol to be like this big-time Wonder Woman, Superman level type character. And they need to give me a book that I care about, right? Because especially here lately, they've done a lot of damage to the character of Carol Danvers. Bendis kind of brought her up. Before that, I think Busiek did a lot of good work with her too. But Bendis was the one that brought her out of the pit that Busiek left her in. And the character really grew up a lot. And under Kelly Sue DeConnick, this new Captain Marvel garb, the new idea, the new presence as Captain Marvel, it's worked. It's worked in a lot of things, but Marvel really has yet to really nail this character in her own flagship title just in time for a movie. They have done it. They got Kelly Thompson in on the art. In on the writing, we got Carmen Carnero and Tamara Von Villen on the artwork, coloring, penciling, illustrating, all that stuff. Fantastic book. I really, really liked it. This is the strongest Captain Marvel #1 I have ever read. And I'm including all the dude Captain Marvels as well. This was really, really fun. Set up Carol's new world, her existing world, why she's been gone, because she's been out in space with the Alpha Flight and all that stuff, and then she had her own little Life of Captain Marvel miniseries where she took a sabbatical. This fits right in between Arc 1 and Arc 2 of Jason Aaron's Avengers. Really fun stuff that really fits right into the idea that we are just now getting reintroduced to the awesomeness of Captain Marvel. Kelly Thompson is a writer, totally to nail this. Absolutely, Carnero's pencils and artwork is amazing. Von Villen's coloring really highlights the issue. I thought this was a very strong debut, the best debut of Captain Marvel we have ever had. This is gonna be perfect for people that watch that movie, love it, and want to read a comic book right here. Absolutely. Also a new debut, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1. There's the Art Germ cover that a lot of people are going to be after this week. So be sure to give that. It's a very nifty cover. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a new Spider-Man series written by Tom Taylor with artwork by Juan Cabal. I really like this. It's really, really fun. If you like what Nick Spencer's doing on Amazing Spider-Man, I think you're going to like this. If you don't like what Nick Spencer's doing on Spider-Man, I think you should try this one out. It's really fun, really interesting story, really vibrant. Got the voice and character of Peter Parker nailed down perfectly. Then there's a backup story in here that's going to be a big deal to the Spider-Man story here to come. So definitely worth checking out this first issue alone just to see what the thing is at the end that everybody's going to be talking about and spoiling. So this is your chance to get in on it at the ground floor. But the book is really, really fun, and it works as the nice, vibrant, fun, buoyant Spider-Man comic book. Web of Venom. We got another one of these Web of Venom one-shots. Venom Unleashed. This one is written by Ryan Stegman. It's got artwork by Kyle Hotz and Juan Gadian. Really cool stuff. Really interesting and very, very important to the ongoing Venom story. Even though Donny Cates isn't writing this, it is Stegman. He knows what's going on. He knows what's coming. There's some things that happen in this issue that if you're a fan of the ongoing Venom story, you definitely want to get in on, especially if you read the last Web of Venom story, which was Carnage Unleashed. Really like the artwork. Kyle Hotz, perfect for a Venom book, right? I already did that Carnage book back in the 90s. Did that cover for Web of Carnage. Web of Venom, Carnage Unleashed, or whatever, Carnage Born, my bad. Venom Unleashed. Yeah, Venom Unleashed was really, really fun, and it definitely picks up from where the story is in the current ongoing series, and it's kind of important, a little peripheral, but very important, and especially if you like that stuff. So Man Without Fear is here. A lot of people got it last week and read it. At my shop, we did not get issue #1. We didn't get it until this week. It wasn't short. It wasn't even on the invoice to come in until this week for us. But anyway, we got issue #1 and #2. I read both of them. I was unimpressed. I didn't really like what Charles Soule had been doing on Daredevil, and apparently now Matt Murdock's in a coma, got hit by a truck or something. I don't know. I didn't read that. Really cool covers. Absolutely. This is a little weekly miniseries. It's going to kind of be a bridge. I think it's weekly. It's going to be a bridge between the Charles Soule run and the upcoming Chip Zdarsky, Marco Checchetto run, which I'm excited for that one. But seriously, after reading this is just kind of like retreading some stuff. If you're unfamiliar with the character, maybe it'll give you some new information. But if you're already familiar with the character and you're just waiting for Zdarsky to come on, just wait. Just wait. Miles Morales, Spider-Man #2 is here from Saladin Ahmed and Javier Guerin. Really like this one. Thought it was really, really fun. Miles teams up with the Rhino for a very fun adventure. One of the things I've noticed that Ahmed does with some of his Marvel work is he likes to take characters that are like villains that we already have a preconceived judgment upon and shed a little bit of new light. Of course, he has a little bit of help from some of the work done back in the day, a few years ago, with the character of Rhino in the Spider-Man book. So he picks up that thread and moves on with it perfectly and helps illuminate a little bit of the character of Miles Morales. Really fun stuff, great artwork, and nice. I'm liking it. I think Miles is in great hand. Ahmed's doing a great job. Avengers #12 is here. Jason Aaron is gearing up for War of the Realms, and he's doing some really interesting thing with the Avengers. You know that first arc with Celestials, we were like, yeah, it's all right. And I reread it, and I thought, you know, that's pretty solid. But this second arc, where it's basically about Black Panther and his vision of the Avengers, and the Avengers aren't really accepted in the United States or many other countries right now. There's a lot of different threats that are going on, not including the War of the Realms, but of course that's kind of behind the scenes as well. You got this War of the Vampires, Civil War thing that's about to break out, other things. Panther is leading a very proactive Avengers roster, and you get into the nooks and crannies of it in this issue. It's great. And the last page, one of my favorite pages of a comic book this year. Of course, this year's only 2 new comic book days old, right? Thor, speaking of War of the Realms, Thor number 9 is here. Jason Aaron definitely threads a lot more about War of the Realms in this issue than he does in the Avengers, but the Avengers does reference things that happen in here, and this references things that happen in the Avengers. They both kind of work together. Thor was really, really fun. Del Mundo's artwork was really cool and actually worked for the story. A lot of times I think his art is a little too abstract, a little too out there. It really kind of distracts from the story. And this one, it actually worked really, really well. Aaron's script and Del Mundo's artwork just had a beautiful combination in this issue that I really, really liked. This one focuses on Rose Solomon, a little bit of her story, her new role in Black Panther's Avengers organization. Really fun stuff, really like it, getting built up into the War of the Realms, which Jason Aaron's been building up to for a long time, and I'm starting to get hyped for it. Absolutely. Uncanny X-Men number 9, the penultimate issue of X-Men Disassembled. This is the second to final issue before the end of X-Men Disassembled and the start of Last X-Men Standing and the Age of X-Men. It's pretty fun. It's cool. Overall, each issue for the last few issues has been a little lackluster to me. A little just like, let's get to the point. We all know the Age of X-Men is coming. Why do we have to keep building this up? But it's a neat little story, I think, when I was reflecting on it after I read it, about the fall of Nate Gray, about the disillusionment and disenfranchisement of Nate Gray, of X-Man. A very, very powerful mutant that a lot of us in my age bracket remember from the Age of Apocalypse, but a really cool, fun story. Now X-Men is in control of Legion, and it's as crazy as you think. A great ending that sets up a big finale that's basically just a setup for what's to come, which what's to come may just be a setup for what's coming after. It just feels like X-Men, even though they keep course correcting and they're doing a great job, especially with Kelly Thompson, Matt Rosenberg, and Ed Brisson, they're doing a great job of course correcting, but every single new story just feels like it's a prelude to a prelude to a prelude to when they're finally going to get this book going, right? I don't know, that's how I feel. Speaking of Matt Rosenberg, though, Matty Rosenberg, we got Punisher number 6 out this week, the start of a brand new story. Frank has definitely just declared war on Hydra. He's been doing this ever since Rosenberg took over this title, and now he's been captured by Baron Zemo, and he's being tortured and messed up, and this issue is pretty fun. If you've been liking this issue, it's not super, super serious. It's very tongue-in-cheek. Doesn't take itself too seriously, but don't worry, Frank is still BA, and he's not a joke. And this is really fun stuff, really cool stuff. Frank versus Baron Zemo. There you go. Also from Marvel, another one of these Star Wars Age of the Republic one-shots. This one focusing on Jango Fett. Really cool story. I really like this. Nice little story about Jango Fett and young Boba. And it fits in the movies, and it reveals a little bit of... It doesn't reveal anything, but it shows some scenes that were alluded to that we never got to see. But it was actually really fun. With Ross's artwork, Hauser's script, I thought it was pretty fun. And one of the more fun and entertaining one of these Star Wars Age of Republic one-shots that we've had so far. Let's move over to Image. They got a new one I want to point out. Gunning for Hits, Music Thriller number 1. This was really, really cool, and this is your sleeper hit of the week. This was great. I thought this was really cool. It's written by Jeff Rogvi, and with artwork by Maury Tot, colors and letters by Casey Silver. This one was a really cool, fun exploration about the seedy side of the music industry in the 80s and of course beyond. So you'll learn a lot about the record industry, about how they take advantage of young artists, about how the art of negotiation works, about how an A&R agent's job, like what he does. But it's really cool, fit into this cool comic book sense, experimental storytelling, great flow, decent artwork, really fun story, great engaging characters. This right here, Gunning for Hits, that's your sleeper hit of the week. If you're gonna take a chance on anything this week, take a chance on that, because I found that to be really, really, really good. Criminal, number 1. It's a new number 1 for Criminal. Now, I'm going to confess this. I've never read Criminal. Never. I've read Sleeper. I've read Point Blank. I've read Fatale. I've read The Fade Out. I have not read Criminal ever, right? And so Ed Brubaker, the writer, and this is a crime noir type thing, Ed Brubaker, the writer, has always said that each arc of Criminal can be read in and of itself with no understanding what came before or after. So I wanted to try that out. It's really cool first issue. Really cool. Great stuff. If you like film noir, if you like crime fiction, I think you're going to like this book. It's really, really fun. And if you've never read Criminal, don't be dissuaded, because I've never read it either, and I read issue number 1. It was a great story, interesting characters, a really seedy, underbelly crime world type thing. Exactly, you know what I'm talking about. This book's pretty fun. Criminal number 1 was pretty good. Savants number 1 comes from Source Point Press number 1. And Brett, yes, I read this because I saw it and I was like, you know what? This is one of those books that I think Brett's going to be asking about. So let me read it. I read it. It's okay. It's okay. It's a little just disjointed, clunky, all over the place. It's trying to make a point. It's got some nice things. It's got some great things about it. But overall, the story just didn't engage me. It didn't enthrall me at all. Didn't really ever capture me. Too many threads that never came together for me for a first issue. Gary Reed was the creator and the writer. Seth Demoose's artwork I really do like, but at times it's just a little unclear, just a little undetailed, not detailed enough. Didn't really engage me, didn't really capture me. So Savants number 1, something that I would ultimately pass on this week. Bully Wars number 5. This is the final issue of Bully Wars, Volume 1. I don't know, because at the end it says Volume 1 coming, trade paperback. I don't know if this book is continuing, but I hope it does, because this book was awesome. But if it doesn't continue, this was a nice final issue, a great wrap-up to the series, a great wrap-up to the first story arc, and someone needs to take these 5 issues, and they need to make a movie, an animated movie, a live-action movie. It doesn't matter. This was great. I've talked about this book since it came out. Scotty Young, Conley, Aaron Conley, Jean-Francois, Beaulieu, fantastic stuff. Great, fun, charming, endearing book for almost all ages. Definitely from young readers and up. Really fun stuff. It's Bully Wars. It's about the town that has the most bullies per capita in the world, and they have this tournament, the Bully Wars, and all the bullies in the school get together and they compete, and the winner is declared the bully of the year and the ruler of the year. And so a new freshman who was the bully of his middle school comes in, and now he's the low man on the totem pole, and he tries to get his bullies, the people he bullied all throughout his entire career as a bully, to help him win the Bully Wars. Really fun story, a great satisfying conclusion with a nice point to the end of it. I really like that. Murder Falcon number 4 is here. This book is wild, fun, crazy, slam bang, awesome. Just amazing stuff from Daniel Warren Johnson, who is the creator, artist, and writer. Mike Spicer on the coloring. Russ Wooten on the lettering. Everybody involved does a great job making this a very dynamic, free-flowing, in-your-face book that also has a touch of heart, a touch of tragedy, and keeps surprising us every single page turn. I love this book so much. It's basically the story about this dude who had some bad things happen to him. He's quit playing music, and then all of a sudden these giant demons come out, and then Murder Falcon shows up, and he's this like cyborg falcon crazy warrior dude, right? And he's like, you gotta shred metal, man, and it powers me up, and I can defeat these evil beings from conquering the planet. Fantastic stuff. It's a great story about the effect and impact of music on who we are as individuals. Highly recommended. Prodigy number 2. You know, issue number 1 was my pick of the week when it came out last month, and I loved issue number 2. Mark Miller doing a fantastic job. Raphael Albuquerque, his artwork sells this book. It makes this book, because otherwise it's a little bit Buckaroo Banzai. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's what Mark Miller does. He takes things that are successful, merges them together, does some really cool, cynical, off-the-wall type stuff, some really hard-hitting type things, for instance. But the artwork by Albuquerque sells this book. It's dynamic, it's fluid, it's resonant, it's fantastically great. In fact, I realized I haven't showed too much artwork tonight, so let me show you a page or two that's not going to spoil anything. Oh man, those are some tough pages to show. Anyway, there you go. That doesn't show you anything, but this book is way better than that page. Would Let You to Believe. Prodigy number 2, fantastic stuff. Really, really like that book. Cemetery Beach number 5 is here. This is by Warren Ellis and Jason Howard. A lot of Warren Ellis books. There's like 2 types of Warren Ellis books. Like there's 2 types of Coen Brothers movies. There's like really deep, disturbing ones and really kooky, off the wall, spontaneously weird ones. So Warren Ellis has like books that are really deep, that are really like interesting with like a lot of ideas, and then he just has books that are just very simple, action oriented, and just fun, but not so many ideas. This is one of the latter, but it really, really works. Warren Ellis sometimes will just ask an artist, what do you want to draw? And he'll write a story around that. This totally feels like Warren Ellis asked Jason Howard, what do you like to draw? Sure, I'll do that. Overall, it's a simple story, but nobody does action like Warren Ellis as a writer in comics, and Jason Howard knows exactly how to bring that to the page. So I'm still loving Cemetery Beach, but it's not one of the more deep, filled with ideas Warren Ellis books that we have out there. Bitterroot number 3 was a great chapter in this saga of a family, of an African-American family in the 1920s that is out there to stop the supernatural monsters from taking over and things like that. Some nice, cool artwork. David F. Walker, Chuck Brown, Sanford Green, great artwork, great writing, great characters, a nice flow, great surprises. Bitterroot, fantastic stuff from Image Comics. Die number 2 is here from Kieran Gillen, and artist, something Hans. Is it at the end? Let me look it up. Yes, Stephanie Hans and Clayton Cowles on the lettering, Ryan Hughes as the designer, Chrissy Williams is the editor. This book is beautiful. It's luscious. It's got great artwork, beautiful coloring. The coloring on this book is absolutely fantastic. It's somehow involving like this group of players who were like in part of an RPG, like a D&D type thing, and then they actually went into that world and they all escaped except for one, and now years later, the one that they thought was lost and dead in that realm has called them back. So it's interesting, it's got beautiful artwork, it's elegant artwork, but the story a little bit loses me, but I've never been an RPG, D&D type person. I really think that someone who's into those kind of games, they're really going to appreciate this book a whole lot more than me. That being said, it's a great piece of sophisticated comic book storytelling. I'm just kind of like out of the loop, I think, on the D&D RPG type thing, so I'm trade weighting this one, but definitely if that's your bag, you're gonna love that one. Also from Dark Horse Comics, we got Legardie number 2 out this week from Berger Books. I loved issue number 1. I thought it was a cool analogy about some socio-political ideas about immigration, especially in the United States. Really cool stuff from Nnedi Okorafor, Tana Ford, and James Devlin. Really like this story. I did like issue 2 as well. A little bit not as engaging as issue number 1, but I still thought that issue 2 was a cool thing. So if that kind of social commentary is to your liking, I think you'll dig this book for sure. And finally, let's talk about Go-Go Power Rangers number 16. And yeah, Jelani, Zach is wearing pink. And why? Why the hell not? This book was fun, and just like Tokujir before it over in Japan, Super Sentai, they have a little bit of fun in this story arc about switching some of the powers up on the Rangers. So you get to see Trainee as the Red Ranger, you get to see Jason as the Yellow Ranger, you get to see Zach as the Pink Ranger, Kimberly as the Blue Ranger, and of course, let's talk about him, Billy as the Black Ranger. A real fun stuff. This has been the best Power Ranger comic book of all time, to me, has been Go-Go Power Rangers by Ryan Parrott and company. Fantastic stuff. So that's what I read this week. That's what I thought about it. Let me know what you read and what you're excited to read and what you think about it in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I do appreciate everything. Be sure to join us over at Twitter at The PCP Show, or follow me directly at Twitter at The Rockin Robbie. We appreciate everything. Join us at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs and a whole lot more. Thanks for rocking with us. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Keep on reading.